Welcome to NWA Power Episode 12, Something Left to Prove. This was a good episode. I gotta say this about watching NWA Power compared to WWE, compared to AEW and Impact Wrestling. I really do like this show very much. Let me give it to you in this respect. You got Impact Wrestling. You have AEW, which the only reason that AEW is lower is because it's still new and it hasn't worked out all its kinks. And then you got Impact Wrestling, which has been around for a while. And since they just changed their style, they've gone to Access TV. Things have changed a little bit. So normally it would be like somewhere around here. They're a little bit here because of the changes that have been made. But NWA and Impact Wrestling, they're getting pretty close. I'm finding NWA Power a lot more interesting and a lot more polished than Impact right now. I'm not trying to say Impact is trash. Hopefully the beginning of the year. Next week, because this weekend is only a part 2 of the best of Impact. If they're doing a part 1, now there's going to be a part 2. We don't get no new Impact episode until next week. What is that? I think that's the 7, 8, 9, like 10 or 11th, I believe. So I'm not sure about the day. But when you see this, NWA is just at this moment doing pretty well because they gave us a good show. Opening up the show, we got the interview with Tim Storm. Now, I like Tim Storm. And I gotta say this, that the way they're building up Tim Storm, I think is a better version of Cody Rhodes at this moment, because Cody's storyline is still very new along with the company. So Cody trying to make his storyline a little better, particularly having Art Anderson there. Now, I know a lot of people are not too fond of Art Anderson being with him as his manager. I don't find it a problem, especially if Cody Rhodes is going to turn heel eventually. That makes the best sense for Cody to have Art, that he eventually turns heel. That's what I think is the best option. But when I see the situation with Tim Storm, he seems like a better version of what's going on with Cody. Now, he was talking about the tournament, and all this comes out. And basically he was messing with him, along with Camille being by his side. I'll say this. One, I do love Nick in this situation where he is being a legit badass, but he's screwing around with everybody because he beat everybody. He can act as arrogant as he wants. Having Camille by his side still is always a good thing, and that woman was wearing a dress that shows so much cleavage. Lovely cleavage. But we had a match later where Nick is supposed to face Tim Storm, and they had well, I'm going to say this because they showed someone with someone I don't recognize pulling out, what's the right word? Pulling out names out of a fish jar. I didn't think people still did that. That was a nice old school touch. That's one thing I do like about NWA Power. They kind of make this more of an old school thing with a nice, generally up to date kind of taste to it. Not taking away going so old school that it's just boring, but having some good new interesting things added. Now, Tim Storm gets into the ring. I'm jumping around, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Storm gets in the ring, waits for all this. All this is not going to do it. He said he's won the forfeit. And everyone called him a coward and a liar, which pissed him off. I got to say this. Seeing that Isaac was the one that was thrown into the fire, and now they're calling themselves Strictly Business because you have Latimer, you have Isaac, his girlfriend, you got all this, and you got Camille. You got them now called Strictly Business. Well, I'm okay with that. It's not a bad name, and they do need a faction. They need one. They don't got no faction generally there. They got tag teams, but no real general faction. So this is the first one for the company in the new era of NWA. I'm alright with it. The match was okay, but I didn't expect Isaac to win here and to move on into the NWA television title match tournament. Or tournament title match. That sounds better. I'll say this, seeing Tim Storm going through there makes the best sense because we are going to need a veteran near the end of the tournament. Now, here's something that was just, you got Aaron Stevens versus a jobber. I don't remember his name. Him doing karate from the question mark. Hopefully I sounded right, because I can't talk too loud or open my mouth too much because the gum is still healing and it hurts either I open my mouth a little too much still or if I talk too much still. Yes, it's been a month, but I was told the impacted tooth really messed up my gum, so I'm still having problems. 3 months, guys. It's 3 months I still take to heal. It's barely been a month and 3 days. I got a long way to go, damn it. Anyway, you got Aaron Stevens wiping this guy out, and then, well, let me crank that back. This was a exhibition. I think the reason I'm botching here, having an exhibition match, that is a submission match, kind of was what? Why? But it makes sense with Aaron Stevens' character. He is so full of himself. He wants to do an exhibition and make it into a submission exhibition just to show how great of a karate champion he is. A 3-degree. He's in my face. I gotta hold myself back and keep myself laughing because him as a national champion cheating his way into it, it's for his character, but still saying it makes me laugh. Then you got Trevor Murdoch coming out and making it very clear, I don't like what's going on. You screwing over the younger talent. I'm letting you have it. And then Steven says, look, you just want to be me. You're not going to get my title. You're not going to get your chance against me. He said, and this is Murdoch. He says, I'm not looking to get your title. Only thing I want to do is whoop your ass. Get in the ring. So Steven says, okay, but if I win, I get your spot in the tournament because he's also in the television tournament. This wasn't a very long match. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to be really interested in Murdoch. He looks older. He's chubby as hell. He's not a high flyer. But I say this. It's good to have an older wrestler like that who does not do all the flips, the kicks. Who's more smash mouth, who's more rough. Because you need a stark contrast of styles. That's how you're going to get people to care about NWA Powerrr. In the end, you got him tapping out the national champion with an Indian deathlock. Now you kind of thought, where's the question mark? I think the question mark should have came out. Not to mess up the match, but to face down Trevor because supposedly at Revolution he's going to be facing him, I think. I'm not sure. I could be wrong though. You got the Pope talking with Homicide and Kingston. Now, I don't think this was a interview segment. It was more the Pope talking about how he's looking forward to these two people he's looking at doing something great in NWA. Seeing they can be champions. Seeing that Kingston should be a world champion. I wouldn't go that far. I'm not saying I don't like Kingston. I'm going to be honest here. When he was in Impact, I did not like him at first. When he was brought into the Wu-Tang Clan. And then into, no, not Wu-Tang Clan. He was brought into LAX. He just didn't seem to fit. He didn't seem right and didn't work. But once he went to the OGs, that's when he really showed his stuff, and I liked him. Here, I'm not saying I don't still like him. I do. But I'd rather see him as national champion. Because I want to see him build up his persona first before just getting the damn title. Maybe he'll become a television champion eventually, and that would just give him more of a boost, which he does need for the NWA. That's just me. The interview. No. Let me put it to you like this. I looked at NWA Girl Power, and I'm going like, what the hell is this? Oh, please, no. But they're trying to build up Marty Bell and Allison Kay. They're trying to put the heels saying how they feel compared to the faces saying how they feel. In a different type of environment. Instead of having an interview, they just sat down and talk about how they feel. Now, I don't know if this is going to come off very well for everyone. This, to most people, would think, oh, this is now women, this, women's revolution, women's evolution. Look, the landscape of women's wrestling has changed a lot because of NXT. But the problem is the implementation after that moment was reached has become crap. So trying to find the right type of setting to make it important is not very difficult. Now, I'm not saying I liked seeing the girl power thing at the very beginning, which you see in my face if I got the image. But at least it was different. Seeing Kay talking to all the faces was fine. Seeing Marty Bell talking with the heels was fine. Seeing their points of view, which wasn't totally crap. But they need to refine it a little bit to make it mean something, some type of segment. I don't know. But I'll give it my approval right now because this is new. Let's see here. You got a women's match of Steel versus Marty Bell. Now, this had Melina at ringside. And this implication of how Marty Bell is being treated by Melina and Thunder Rosa. What will you see her turn back to the good side if she's treated like crap? This is what I think they're trying to show. You got a good match, but I gotta admit this. Look, Marty Bell is not a bad wrestler, but she's not a great one. And then you see this, I don't remember her first name, seeing Steel, who looks like she's still a little green. Not saying she's bad, but she still seems a little green. And Marty, who's like this, who should be with somebody who's like this, is not with someone who's like this. And it kind of shows because it looked a little botchy and a little staged. Doesn't mean it was a bad match. In the end, you did get Steel winning, and then you got Melina telling her off, and that is Marty Bell. Now the question is going to be, how far are they going to treat Marty Bell bad? Because it did look like she was just not belittling her, but telling her, you need to do this. What are you doing? This is how I tell you to be. We already know Melina's manipulative, so her telling her off like this, telling what she did wrong, is part of her character, which I'm okay with. There you go. Now, you got Eli Drake. Ooh, I love me some Eli Drake. Eli, I know people believe MJF in AEW wrestling is one of the best talkers in the game today. I'm sorry. I love MJF. I think at 23, maybe 24 years old, I believe, he's 23, is damn good for his age. He is so good with his character. He is so good in talking. But I believe Eli Drake is better. I just see Eli as a guy that just has it. And if you saw the Christmas special, this is not a Christmas special, it's a Christmas movie, you saw him drunk or fake drunk, and he was just hilarious. Seeing Eli, excuse me, seeing Eli talking about, hey, all this is ducking me. And then he's saying that I want gold. He's going to try to go after the tag gold. Well, I'd rather see him try and get the national championship. Or the television championship for that matter, eventually. That's where I hope he goes. But then you got the Colt Cabana coming out. You got to say this. Seeing Colt Cabana coming out to try and set something up between him and Ken Anderson and Eli Drake and the person he's going to choose. Wasn't too bad. But, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to feel once the match happens, because unless you see the Rock and Roll Express has to go after another team. And if it's going to be one of those two, it makes some sense going into Revolution, because they got to have this match before Revolution, and then that one of those two have to be the one that's going to go after the Rock and Roll Express. Hopefully they're going to make it mean something with the Rock and Roll Express. Now, I know a lot of people are not happy with the Rock and Roll Express being champions right now. This is just a gift for them. But you got to do something with the new show, and you have the veterans who have been known to hold those titles for a long time. Yes, these guys are in their 60s, but it made the best sense. Doesn't mean everyone's going to like it, but it makes sense. And the last match of the night. And I'm going to say this briefly about the match, because I did kind of talk about it in the very opening a little bit. The match itself between Isaac and Tim Storm made perfect sense. And I did talk about it. But I want to say this. Seeing the Rock and Roll Express come out and tell all this at the end. Hey, don't ever turn your back on an opponent. I'm not sure where that comes in. I don't think they needed to do that. Not unless you're going to have Wildcard going after the Rock and Roll Express again once. I mean, this is the question. Are they going to do a triple threat between Eli Drake and James Storm? Or they're going to do it with Colt Cabana, with Ken Anderson, or Wildcard. Unless this is what they're going to do going into Revolution, I just didn't see why they had to do this. Now, was this a good show? Yes. Seeing the question mark with Aaron Stevens and their promo was funny. It wasn't amazingly great, but it was funny. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the majority of this show. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to enjoy it because they're going to think it's kind of sleeping out. That hurt. Sleeping on my bed. That's what some people would be, just like this. But I felt that this wasn't bad. It got a decent amount of matches. It got a good amount of storyline. We're not getting that from AEW still. It's still growing. And I gotta say this about AEW is I've been hard on it, but I gotta be honest for what it is. I understand it's still very new, and after 6 months they should have this stuff straightened out. If they don't, they got major problems. But if you're gonna compare AEW to NWA Powerrr, it just has more story-driven characters. They got a very good story compared to AEW right now. Here's AEW. Here is NWA, just slightly above it, because they built better characters with better story. Now, it's still very new, and particularly after... I wish Jim Cornette had not had to leave. Even though Stu Bennett is doing a good job, that really did hurt a little bit. But in the end, episode 12 was good. You would like it if you hadn't already seen it. So, have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!